Hello wrestling fans! In this video we're going to be ranking every single model of Randy Orton in WWE games. Each model of Orton will be ranked into one of 5 tiers, those being RKO, which means it's a knockout and the best, good, indifferent, bad, and Randy Borton, which means it's the worst. For the purpose of this video, our ranking will mainly be focused on the head and face of each model, with that being the most important part, but we'll also take into consideration the body and attire, for attention to detail. We're going to go through each model in order of Orton's appearance in a WWE game, and there's plenty of them, so let's start with 2002's Smackdown Shut Your Mouth. So this is Randy Orton in WWE Smackdown Shut Your Mouth, and he looks more like Chad Gable than he does Randy Orton.
Thank you!
The face just looks really poor, more so in his entrance than in his winning sequence for what it's worth. The face isn't the only problem, the body type seems overly big, from the traps of the shoulders to the arms and chest, and once again I don't know why, but it looks even worse in the entrance than in game and Orton's winning sequence. The best bit about this model is probably the attire, but that's not saying much. So we kick off our Randy Orton ranking with the disappointing Randy Borton. WWE WrestleMania 19. This seems much better. I can certainly see Randy Orton more in the face, and the hairstyle is pretty decent too. The body type is better than what we just saw with Smackdown Shut Your Mouth, although I'm not entirely sure where this attire came from, as I don't remember Orton wearing anything like this in the early 2000s. I think this model does have some good improvements, but the odd choice for the attire stops me from ranking it as good, and instead, it's just indifferent. WWE Raw 2. Now I'm not entirely sure what's happened here, but Frankie Kazarian seems to have snuck into Raw 2 to take the place of Randy Orton. I know Kazarian had a brief stint in WWE, but I didn't know he made it to a WWE game. Until now. All Kazarian comparisons aside, the face of this model just isn't very good. It's the main issue that lets this model down, as the body and attire are actually decent, and probably it's the best body type we've seen so far, which isn't saying much, but if the face had been half decent, we could have been ranking this one as good or indifferent, but unfortunately it's not, so it's going in bad. WWE Smackdown Here Comes the Pain. With this model, I think we're still feeling the pain of Smackdown Shut Your Mouth. The face might be a tiny bit improved, but hardly enough to shift up the ranking. So Here Comes the Pain joins Shut Your Mouth as a Randy Borton. WWE Day of Reckoning. For Day of Reckoning, I'm not sure about this model. I think the face is pretty good and the hair is good too, but the body seems a bit strange. The arms are too big and the chest is massive, and the legs, which I don't talk about that often, are all twisted in. It just doesn't look right. It's one of those ones where it's not bad, but I don't think that it's good either. So for Day of Reckoning, it's indifferent. WWE Smackdown vs Raw. What is going on with these Smackdown models? The face looks even worse than Shut Your Mouth and Here Comes the Pain. The body's alright, and the attire is decent, but neither make up for this terrible attempt at Orton's face. It's another Randy Borton. WWE WrestleMania 21. So this is kinda better. At a glance, at least it does look a bit like Randy Orton. I think the face is alright, although expressions can throw the model off. The hair is good, it has a nice fade to it, the body type is decent too, and the attire has some nice material differences to make it stand out. To sum up, I'd say this model is overall alright. It's better, but it hasn't got me feeling that it's a solid good. It's more a high level indifferent. So I'll rank it as that, and plonk this one in indifferent. WWE Day of Reckoning 2. The face of this model isn't half bad. I think the head shape is good, the hair is good, and the face is well constructed. But this is another model where the body and attire let it down. The attire seems to be half finished. Where is Orton's wrist tape? Did they forget to put it on? Who knows? As for the body, and maybe it's just me, but he seems really small. Maybe his arms are too short, but something just doesn't look right. So it's not bad, but it's not good. So again, it's indifferent. SVR 2006. So we're back with the Smackdown franchise, and more specifically the SVR series, and these games have had a terrible run in this ranking so far, but at last we have progress. At the 4th attempt we have a rather decent looking Randy Orton. The face is very good here, even when showing expression. The hair also looks good too, with textures and a fade. The body type is more specific to Randy Orton, with notable high shoulder traps, and the attire is good as well. I'm pleased to say I really like this model, so I'm happy to rank this one as our first Randy Orton that's good. SVR 2007. Now I could be wrong, but it does seem that THQ have got to grips with Orton's model at last, and SVR 2007 builds from 2006. You'll notice some slight adjustments to the face and body, both of which make this model look better than last year. The face captures a young Randy Orton really well, and the body is more shaped to Orton too. I think these slight updates are enough for me to bump this model up from good to great, and make SVR 2007 our first, it's another first, RKO. SVR 2008. There's not much to be said about SVR 2008 that wasn't said in 2007. It's equally as great, so it's a follow-up RKO. SVR 2009. We now have a major change to the look and style of the SVR series, and a very different looking Randy Orton for SVR 2009. Orton sports a shaved head, and it looks great with plenty of texture, and it doesn't just make him look bald. The body type is solid with plenty of definition, and everything seems to go together nicely. Nothing looks out of place. So even though SVR 2009 took the jump to look different, it hasn't impacted the accuracy of the last two games, giving us, in bowling terms, a turkey of RKOs. SVR 2010 and 2011. Much like 2007 to 2008, 2009 does the same with SVR 2010, so 2010 is another RKO. Unlike 2010, SVR 2011 does have some changes, notably the graphic style. It is different, and Orton with an even shorter haircut, but the end result is the same. Another great model. So closing off the SVR series with one final RKO. WWE All Stars. What went wrong? What went wrong? We were doing so well, then we got this monstrosity. Of course, WWE All Stars is supposed to make superstars look larger than life, but they should still resemble the superstar to some degree, and this does not. Take away the tattoos and the attire, and there is no chance you could tell this head is supposed to be Randy Orton. It's just awful, and yes, it's a Randy Borton. WWE 12. Shifting away from the style SVR created in the latter years, and a style which in my opinion was very successful, WWE 12's model is pretty good. My only criticism of the model is that the face looks a little bit inflated, kinda looks like Orton's had Botox, but it still captures the essence of Orton. The textures are also really good, from the hair to the addition of the beard and tattoos as well. Considering once again there was another shift in style from THQ, and this is really the first model from that shift, this model is good. WWE 13 and WWE 2K14. Now we've lumped both these games together as they both use the base model which we saw in WWE 12. WWE 13 has some slight updates and they are good. I think they fixed the Botox problem, which was my major issue, and 2K14 is pretty much the same model as 13, and both are hard to fault, but I don't feel they deserve to be ranked as RKO. Instead, they're just both very solid, good models, so I'm going to rank both of them in good. WWE 2K15. Back when I first saw this model, I was blown away. 2K15 took the series to what was then next-gen consoles, and even to this day, this model of Randy Orton is seriously impressive. The face is spot on, the stubbled hair and facial hair blend perfectly to the model, the tattoos also look great, they aren't too heavy, and everything just looks, well, great. WWE 2K15 also included a younger model of Orton, which I would say is less impressive. It's still good, but I wouldn't say it's great. However, that's not going to stop me ranking this model as an RKO. WWE 2K16 and WWE 2K17. 2K16 and 2K17 kept the same base model from 2K15. The only difference I really noticed was that 2K16 has less of a body shine to 2K15. The shine then returns in 2K17, giving Orton more of a glossy look. Besides that, there's no real change, so both can join 2K15 in RKO. WWE 2K18. Strangely, after getting it so right with the past 3 installments, WWE Games decided to introduce an improved graphics engine for 2K18. This new graphics engine was a major selling point and was supposed to enhance each model, and for the most part, it kind of did. Everything pops a bit more, but with this pop of saturation, I felt it took away from the realistic and more natural look that we'd seen in the past. Now don't get me wrong, Orton's model still looks very good, but I'd say it's debatable if it's great. I feel this model to 2K17 has also had some adjustments. The mouth has a certain expression, which I don't particularly like, and the lower section of the face appears overinflated. On the other hand, all the textures of the model, from the hair, facial hair, tattoos and attire, all look great, but I think the face has taken a step backwards, and it's only good. And that's why it's going to be my overall ranking for 2K18. Good. WWE 2K19. 2K19 is a difficult one in my opinion. I'm not overly sure about it. It still holds much of what I considered good from 2K18, but the hair just looks plonked on, and there's no attempt to make it shaped or subtle. And is it me, or is Randy becoming more mouthy? The mouth shape just looks worse. Everything else is just alright, but those two aspects I can't get away from. I think they make this model go from looking good to bad. So it's bad for 2K19. WWE 2K20. Now I know there are a few out there who think I'm pretty harsh when it comes to 2K20, but my question to those would be, surely you can't think this hair on this model looks good. Look at the front of it, it's really bad. There's no fade, no attempt at making it look subtle, and it's even worse than the plonked on 2K19 version, and that was bad. Another issue is that Orton now looks a bit boss-eyed. Where did that come from? Out of nowhere. If the hair was done better and the eyes were attended to, much like 2K19 again, it could be good. As you can see, it's Randy, but with the issues, I really don't think it is good. So this should come as no surprise as this is joining 2K19 in bad. WWE 2K Battlegrounds. By now, I think we all know the style of WWE 2K Battlegrounds, and this model does achieve the likeness of a caricature of Randy Orton, which in my opinion, WWE All Stars did not. Now, although you can tell this is Randy Orton, I don't overly like this model. I feel like WWE Games could have textured the model much better, as the hair is very dark. For what it's going for, I suppose it's okay. So I'm just going to put this one in indifferent. WWE 2K22. Our final model of Randy Orton, and yes, it's an impressive one. Straight away I'm going to say it, but I do have a few minor notes. Sometimes the eyes look a little off, the left eye doesn't always appear to be working with the right eye, and the hair is way better than 2K19 and 2K20, but it could still be, in my opinion, even better. Besides those few notes, there is plenty of texture on this model, from the definition of the body to the slight blemish on Orton's face, and I also think the beard is really good. We should also briefly mention the attire, as it does show a great combination of materials, with his trunks having a shine along with his knee pads, and his jacket and boots having a different textured material. Although I've noted a few minor things, this model is up there with the best. So our final ranking for Randy Orton with WWE 2K22 closes out with one more.
Uh-oh, I want to hear that. What now? Oh, breaking news!
RKO. So there you have it. That was every model of Randy Orton in WWE games ranked. Out of 26 models, we had 9 as RKO, 5 were ranked as good, 5 were indifferent, 3 ended up in bad, and 4 found themselves as Randy Borton. If you enjoyed this ranking, make sure you drop a like on the video and let us know how you'd rank these models in the comments below. But for now, thanks for watching.